Welcome to our Weather Impact Report, where we take a look at the top weather stories here in Georgia and around the nation. I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss. We were back in a summer-like pattern here in the Peach State. Heat, humidity, and isolated showers plagued us most of the week. Tuesday morning, some people were cleaning up after storms rolled through the metro area. Take a look at this video. A tree down off Fairburn Road on the west side, landing right on a car and blocking the road. Many of you were hit with showers and storms throughout Wednesday afternoon and evening as well. Check out this video from Atlanta's Pittsburgh neighborhood of a trash can floating down the street. You can also see the drivers and the cars driving right through those floodwaters as well. And drivers dealing with ponding on the interstate. Our Cheryl Preheim sent us this photo from her dash camera. You can see high waters on I-85 South at Langford Parkway. Some neighbors in northwest Atlanta, they dealt with flooding in their apartments Thursday night. This video is from a complex on Hollywood Road. Residents we spoke to say the flooding started coming through the roof, the sprinklers, the lights, and the vents. Residents told us they were looking for somewhere else to go. About a mile away from the complex, our cameras found this massive downed tree. This video is from Hollywood Road and Hightower Drive. The tree blocked off the whole entire roadway, causing cars to have to turn around. Flash floods happen when heavy rain falls in a short amount of time, overwhelming drainage systems and quickly flooding streets and low-lying areas. We have seen this happen almost every week this summer in different locations around the United States. Heavy rain flooded streets in parts of Charleston, South Carolina on Friday. A salt front dumped a couple inches of rain in the city Friday, and it lingered into Saturday morning. Some streets were closed. You can see there on your screen. A flash flood warning was in effect throughout the duration. The city of Roanoke is still drying out after a historic rainfall Thursday night. It's being called a once-in-a-500-year event after 4.27 inches of rain fell in less than 2 hours. It was the city's first emergency flash flood warning since Hurricane Michael in 2018. Roanoke Fire EMS rescued 7 occupants from a car that was stuck in high waters. Their local meteorologist called what happened echo training. That's when successive thunderstorms move over the same area during a brief or prolonged time, resulting in either flooding or flash flooding. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a critical next step is underway that could potentially unlock federal disaster aid after recent storms and flooding in that area as well. Several FEMA teams are going door to door in storm-affected neighborhoods to gather information on the scope of the damage. That data could help convince the president to make a disaster declaration, which could free up relief money. Adam Reif reports.
It's tragic how I had to go through that.
Seemingly everyone has a story of destruction.
It's really heartbreaking to see all what I lost.
And FEMA teams are hearing many of them as they assess flood damage throughout the area. No relief money can be made available without FEMA starting this process.
A whole lot of people lost a lot of things right here, and that's bad. So that's a good thing that they came out to check it out.
6 teams are fanning out to speak with people, sometimes even through doorbell cameras, about the damage they suffered and how they're impacted.
Did it affect mechanicals like furnaces, water heaters? Are you able to live in your home after the disaster? Or did it destroy the structure and it's just not safe to live in?
In many neighborhoods, there are small outward signs of progress.
I got to go and dump this load. I'm going to come back and clean this whole block.
But inside thousands of homes, it's very different. The teams are working quickly to gather enough evidence to support an eventual request for a disaster declaration.
We won't visit every property, but we need to really see enough.
Local teams jump-started the process last week, and the state is confident FEMA will see what they see.
Their lives have been upended by this. We've been out here, we've seen it, we know it's severe.
The damage is severe enough that most people cannot absorb the financial hits of cleaning costs, damaged foundations, mold removal, or lost furniture.
If they want a complete good out, they see 60, 70,000, you know.
Is that something you can do?
No, not at all.
The helpful thing would be money.
But even if everything goes according to plan, getting federal aid could take months. Many are leaning on faith and FEMA to come through with a miracle.
In hope and prayer that they help all of us that come in this loss like this.
From flooding to fires, the hot and dry weather conditions out west have fueled some wildfires this week. And as California braces for a heat wave, a wildfire has already broken out in El Dorado County. A large smoke plume from the Coyote fire can be seen from aerial footage. The wildfire started Wednesday afternoon in Somerset. It prompted evacuation warnings. The fire has already burned 400 acres. With extreme heat warnings for the next couple of days, there is an elevated fire risk for much of California. Two fires in the Florida Everglades have merged to burn more than 17,000 acres and spread smoke across South Florida. That forced Broward County officials to issue an air quality alert. Northwest winds pushed the smoke towards I-75 and across more populated areas. Smoky conditions were also seen in Miami Beach Wednesday. The dense fog filling the air between buildings, and in Fort Lauderdale, fire officials say the haze was the worst overnight between midnight and 2 a.m. While Hurricane Erin did not make landfall in the United States, the impacts were felt. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein and other state leaders toured the damage Hurricane Erin left behind. The governor visited the Emergency Operations Center in Dare County. Hurricane Erin's eye was hundreds of miles from the state's coast, but the storm's outer bands caused a storm surge that breached sand dunes and did major damage to North Carolina Highway 12. The governor admitted the highway, which links the islands which make up the Outer Banks, was severely damaged. However, he said the damage could have been much worse.
The state emergency response team unofficial motto is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Now, we didn't have the absolute best because as we were down in Hatteras, we saw some businesses that took it on the chin. Some homeowners experienced real damage to their property, but my goodness, North Carolina dodged a bullet with Hurricane Erin. She was just a few more miles offshore, and that made the difference in a widespread devastation and what we experience today. No reported loss of life.
While Hurricane Erin now has North Carolina in the rearview mirror, the storm made its presence known early Thursday morning. Stephen Glover was there as people flocked to the Atlantic beach to see what Erin did to the coast.
As the sun begins to rise, so too did the tides and wind.
You can tell that the winds have definitely picked up, but the swells are also dying down some.
Hurricane Erin passed by North Carolina early Thursday, and many people, including surfer Tucker Dickinson, are out at Atlantic Beach to see what conditions the storm's creating along our coast. Dickinson says he's been enjoying the waves created by Erin over the last few days, but the high rip currents and 30-mile-an-hour winds are making catching a wave harder on Thursday.
It's been really heavy. So down at the fort, that's where it's been barreling, and then everywhere else with this wind on it, it's kind of just been sliders. So there's definitely been a lot of size to it, but down at the fort was really gnarly.
Carteret County officials say beach erosion is expected along the Crystal Coast, along with red flags as rough conditions persist even after Erin's left our coast. While some are taking the time to make some memories, others are thinking of the storm's effects.
The impact is in the waves and the swells and in a different way of thinking about storms.
L.J. Palmer Maloney, an ECU teaching assistant professor and Carteret County resident, says that while Erin didn't make landfall, it's still a reminder of what's brewing off our coast.
And as the water continues to get hotter, as our atmosphere continues to get hotter, those storms are going to be increasing, and the size of Erin was massive.
As Hurricane Erin says goodbye, the storm leaves beachgoers with mixed signals of clear, blue skies and dangerous rip currents.
By late Wednesday afternoon, Hurricane Erin's waves near the Tybee Island Pier had already topped 6 feet ahead of high tide. Lifeguards said the conditions created powerful rip currents that even experienced some swimmers could not fight. Crews spent the day keeping swimmers close to the shore, reminding beachgoers not to go deeper than their knees. They also warned that citations could be issued to anyone refusing to follow those safety rules. Tybee Island officials said no major water rescues were needed. Hurricane Erin churned up life-threatening rip currents and dangerous surf along much of the U.S. East Coast and sent destructive waves and storm surge to North Carolina's Outer Banks. It is an important reminder for everyone to stay prepared. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
The impact of Hurricane Erin is already being felt on U.S. coastlines. Around 90 rip current rescues were conducted in North Carolina Monday. In New Jersey, weather conditions are worsening.
We have a rip current warning, we have rough surf warning, we have storm warning, and conditions are bad.
Although Erin isn't forecast to make landfall, the strength of the storm serves as a reminder to prepare.
We always say when we talk about hurricanes, for example, don't wait until the storm warnings have been issued. It's too late.
Part of being prepared is building a kit of emergency supplies.
The toolkit doesn't need to be complex, but it should have specific things in there.
That includes medicine, critical documents, tools, at least a 3-day supply of food, as well as a hygiene and sanitation kit, according to FEMA. Mark Friedlander says another crucial piece is insurance.
Insurance is all about financial protection. So it's not just property insurance for your home, your condo, or your renter's policy if you're an apartment renter, but it's flood coverage.
Flooding isn't often covered in standard home insurance plans, so it's important to check your policy. Other ways to prepare your home before a storm include testing your shutters and securing your outdoor space.
The goal is to create a behavior to be prepared, not a reaction.
It's hard to believe that this week marks 20 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast. On August 29th, 2005, Katrina made landfall as a Category 3 storm, unleashing catastrophic flooding across New Orleans after levees failed. Nearly 1,400 lives were lost and entire communities were displaced in one of the deadliest and costliest hurricanes in U.S. history. The total damage reached an estimated $125 billion, which is about $200 billion today. 2 decades later, survivors say the memories remain vivid, but so does the resilience. Rebuilding continues, and the lessons from Katrina still shape how we prepare and respond to major storms today. That's your weather impact report for this week. As we leave you this week, we want to leave you with some of these images from New Orleans in 2005. Reminders of a tragedy that tested the strength of a city and the resilience of the people who continue to rebuild.